Whoa, having to turn my flash on. Okay guys, it is 5:30 in the morning and I am about to run my first half marathon. It's still dark out. I am pumped. I am ready for this. But as stated before, I have not trained for this. The most I've ever ran is like between 6 and 8 miles. And I'm about to run double that. So, everyone's asking the reasoning behind this, and it is to push myself to the limit. And this is something my mom and my sister run this every year. They're crazy marathon runners, and I'm going to run it with my sister this year. I hope no one expects me to come even remotely close to what my mom runs these in. That she is a maniac. She's crazy, but I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I don't know that I will be able to say this an hour into this half marathon, but I'll be Snapchatting with you guys through this. Growing up, my mom always said that her way of getting through half marathons and full marathons, which is next on my bucket list, I don't know if I'll ever do that, but I'll see tonight. But one thing that she would do is she prayed. By the way, my mom lives down the road, so I'm going down the road to her house to ride with her. She's coming. She would pray for something and someone on each mile. So today, on every mile, I am going to be praying for healing. And this is also the memorial run for the Joplin, Missouri tornado. And a lot of people lost their lives. I've arrived. A lot of people lost their lives, lost loved ones, lost their homes, and lost their businesses. And I don't know where that cut off, but here I am. So let's see how this goes. Start in 5 minutes. Are you ready? Let's go. Do more push-ups. I'm Snapchatting. Yes! An hour and a half in, guys. An hour and a half in. I'm feeling good. I'm gonna finish. My first one. 2 hours. 2 hours. I've been going. I've walked very minimal. I'm proud of myself. 1 hour to go. My sister probably already finished. 2.5 hours. I have no clue how my body's still moving. I had to walk. My blood sugar started out at 450 and it is now 90. So I'm almost done. I can finish at this point. I've seen 3 people drop down and have to have an IV. So there's that. At this point, God has just taken over my body. And I'm crying. I'm crying because I have 2 miles left. And I did it. I finished. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's the last stride to the finish line. Oh my gosh. I can hear the announcer. I want Mexican food so bad. Guys, my grandma came to support me. She's running the last stride with me. I finished. Yay! Look, Whitney's pregnant. Yay! What was your time?
Stop you. The damage is done.
What was
Shot
your
to
time?
the heart.
She's so weird.
You give love a bad name. I finished 2:04. Because I lost some hills because I'm pregnant.
So we were an hour apart. A pregnant lady beat me. I finished though. Hey everybody! You guys have not seen me since my first half marathon, so I just wanted to come on here and explain the whole shebang on why I was crazy enough to do what I did today, and I'm so glad I did it. It was such an amazing experience. I think everyone needs to try to run a half marathon. So I've never really ran more than a 5K, especially in a race, and the first 5K I did, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I'm about to die. I can't believe people actually enjoy doing this. But I love to challenge myself, and eventually I just learned to love 5K. So anytime there's a 5K race, I love to join, and I love that they're always for a good cause and the money's always going towards something. So just paying an entry fee makes me feel good. And then running the race to remember whatever it is I'm running for. The last 5K I did was a diabetic run. And my mom smoked me. So if you know anything about my family and my family background, my sister and mom are marathon runners. My mom smoked me in this 5K, and she was so upset that she got second place and not first place, because she always gets first place in her age division. And then that was in November, and we found out she had stage 4 lung cancer that had traveled to the brain in January. So the fact that she did that and smoked me with stage 4 cancer is absolutely phenomenal. So I always told myself I am going to run a 10K in life. That was just kind of on my bucket list, is to run a 10K, but I wanted to train for it. I wanted to be prepared, and it just never happened. Like, I have been saying that for 2, probably 3 years now, and I have yet to run a 5K. So this race was coming up, and it comes up every year. My mom and sister run it every year, and it's the Joplin Memorial Run, because Joplin, Missouri is 25 minutes away from us, and they were hit by a tornado 8 years ago, and over 130 people died. I want to say it's like 136 or 160. I can't put my mind on the right number, but it was horrible. One of the biggest tornadoes in history. It's just, oh my gosh, tragic. And so this is a memorial run for that, and I loved putting money towards that and getting to participate in this. But I told myself I would do it this year. Of course, my mom is not going to be was not able to run it this year, but my sister is. She's like, I'm running the half marathon. You should do the 5K. There's a 5K relay race. You find 3 people. You guys finish a 5K, or you guys finish a full half marathon together. Each person runs a 5K, and I'm like, perfect. So I instantly text all the people I know who would love to run, and all of them were not only no, but heck to the no. And then I post it online. I'm like, someone join this relay race with me. I want to do it. This sounds so much fun. No one wanted to do it with me. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just run the 5K, and my sister can run the half marathon. Everyone can go and be there at the finish line. It's going to be freaking awesome. If you know about my daily schedule, you know every single morning of my life I work on self-development, whether it's reading a book or listening to a sermon. I want to grow every single day as a human and gain knowledge and learn how to become bigger and better. And my self-development that morning was about pushing myself to the limits and opening up my mind even more, thinking outside the box. And when something seems impossible, say, I'm in. And if you tell people, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and they're like, okay, then you're not dreaming big enough. You want them to be like, you're crazy. There's no way you can do that. And so I went outside jogging, and I'm like, how can I push myself to the limits? And I jogged farther than I had ever jogged that morning. I jogged for a full hour without stopping. And during that jog, I was saying, God, please send something my way that's pushing me to the limits. And it clicked. I'm like, I'm going to run the half marathon this Saturday. No training, no experience, never running over 6 miles in my life. I'm going to enter it. I'm just going to go, I'm just going to enter it and go. And so I called my sister Whitney, and she's the most motivating person ever. I knew she was going to finish like a full hour ahead of me, and she did. And she's like, heck yeah, I'm so excited you're doing this with me. And I tell my dad, and he's like, you're not going to finish. Like, why are you doing this? I told my husband, and he laughed. He's like, there's no way. Every person I told is like, okay, well, get ready to, you're gonna drop out. I don't even think you can finish half of that. And that's when I was like, heck yeah, I set my standards high enough. I'm going to push myself to the limits because people can't see the vision with me. That's how big it is. Like, that fires me up. I used to, before working on self-development, would go right along with them like, oh, they're right. I'm just in over my head. I'm just going to stop. And then as soon as I stepped outside the box and stopped listening to other people who couldn't see the vision with me, I now have a business. I now have, I've become so successful, more than I had ever imagined. And so I'm like so pumped up. Like, it's like a high for me that people didn't believe I would finish. But growing up, I used to just admire my mom. Like, she's my biggest inspiration, my biggest role model. And people always called Whitney crazy and her crazy for running these half marathons and marathons. My mom's ran 5 marathons and several halves. And I remember asking her, how did you finish? And she said, on every mile, I would pick someone or something to pray about. And then the last 5 miles, which, oh my gosh, is the worst, I would just pray for God to take over my body and help me finish. And so I'm like, that's what I am going to do. I did a lot of praying for the tornado victims, those who lost their lives, those who lost loved ones. I'm so glad I got to put money towards that. And I prayed so hard and so much. I was like screaming out to God in my head for healing over my mom. And the whole time I'm like, her body has been through this so many times. How in the world did she do this? And it was just amazing. And then the last 5 miles, I was like, God, my body can't do this anymore. You're going to have to take over. You're just going to have to take over. And I finished. And I'm ready to enter the next one. It was so fun and such an amazing experience. Once again, everyone needs to try this. Everyone needs to enter a half marathon and cross it off their bucket list. My pace was, I ran for an entire hour. My blood sugar was 400 when starting, and I was super upset because it was so high. After an hour of running, I stopped and checked it while I was walking, and it was 200. So it had dropped down 200 numbers. And I ate a snack, and then I would run for 30 minutes and then walk for 5. But at the end, I was running for 10 minutes, walking for 5, running for 10. So it's not a good time, but I still cannot believe I finished. And then at the end of the race, my blood sugar was 90. So it went from 400 to 90. So it's definitely rough being a type 1 diabetic, but God took care of me so much. For anyone wanting to do this also, it is so much mind over matter. Like, that was 85, I'm confident to say that was 85% of me believing in myself and knowing I can finish. And I saw all the people around me, and I knew it was the same. They believe in themselves. They know they can finish. I watched people drop out. The pace setters, 5 of the pace setters ended up dropping out. People were getting IVs in them. Like, so many people quit. But I just knew in my mind, I am going to finish. Like, I'm going to finish, and I truly believe that in the power of prayer is why I finish. So if you do this, you have to jump into it believing yourself, and then believing yourself. It's just mind over matter, and one foot in front of the other, and just keep going. So I just wanted to tell you guys about my experience, and so many of you were cheering me on and praying for me and praying for my mom as I was running that with me, and that was just so amazing. So this was such a fun video to make, and I love you guys so much and hope you enjoy it.